Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for this very important conversation on EDIAR, which stands for Equity, Diversity, Inclusion and Anti-Racism. My name is Chinemere Mabunda, and I work as the EDIAR specialist for Edmonton Catholic Schools. I'm joining you from the Equity Gallery inside Sister Annetta Brockman Catholic Elementary Junior High School. We'll be giving you a tour of this incredible space in just a few minutes. But first, we'll begin with the Cree prayer, shared by Braided Journey student Xander Marcus. Following the prayer is a land acknowledgement, written and recorded by the students at Holy Cross Catholic Elementary Junior High School, with support from our Truth and Reconciliation specialist.
Notawinan kisimanato wichinan mina karaweminan anoch. Kakisakak nianan kita wasimisak napewak napesak iskwewak iskwesak. Ita kakiao. Kokotakak and sinawak otap. Askiak kita tamianan. Hi.
We live, learn, and play on Treaty 6 land and Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4.
Thank you to Indigenous people for sharing the land.
Thank you to the land for giving us food and water.
If more people understand Treaty 6, the love of the land and people will get stronger.
Our goal for this evening is to leave you with a better understanding of equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. We also want to share with you how our division is furthering EDIAR in the classroom and at an administrative level. We will start by sharing with you how we got here and introduce you to our EDIAR strategic plan, which can be found on our website at ecsd.net/EDIAR. With more, here's Chief Superintendent Robert Martin.
Edmonton Catholic Schools has long been an inclusive school division. Inclusion is the foundation of our faith. Love God and love one another. In the fall of 2020, we embarked on a journey to develop training for all staff to ensure a common understanding of equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. In September 2021, in collaboration with the Colburn Institute of Inclusive Leadership at Norquest College, we embarked on a research study to hear from our students, families, and staff about their experiences with inclusion and belonging. Findings from this extensive research project helped inform the development of the Edmonton Catholic Schools EDIAR strategic plan. And now to share more about that plan is our Board of Trustees and Chair, Sandra Palazzo.
The EDIAR strategic plan outlines strategic priorities, key strategies, and explores possible actions that shape the way in which equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism values are embedded in the ongoing work in Edmonton Catholic Schools. We honor the dignity in each person by treating one another with empathy, compassion, and respect. Equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism are guiding values consistent with Catholic social teaching, reaffirming dignity at every level. The implementation of this strategy utilizes a site-based stewardship model that recognizes the uniqueness and individual needs of each school and site in the division.
There are 3 priorities within our strategic plan, beginning with growing equitable education. And what do we mean by equitable education? From within an equity, diversity, and inclusion lens, education grows our compassion, our connection, and our community. Knowledge comes from the sharing of many experiences and perspectives, and inclusive education requires that all voices are valued and integrated, prioritizing those most often rendered invisible. Some of the key strategies we will focus on are developing a common understanding of EDIAR through events like this virtual family evening, staff professional development, and continuing to use a universal design for learning approach in our schools and in our classrooms.
Priority 2 is addressing discrimination and building accountability. Now, discrimination may occur at the institutional, communal, and individual levels, causing harm to all members of communities. Sadly, we see examples of discrimination in society and would be naive to think that discrimination is not occurring in our schools. Accountability is required in order to address discrimination and begin the healing process. inspired by the love of God, faith in Jesus Christ, and the hope from the Holy Spirit. EDI AR approaches accountability with a lens of building bridges of understanding, transformation towards respect, and the restoration of healthy relationships.
Some of the key strategies we will focus on for this priority are developing staff and student confidence to identify and name discrimination and ensuring discrimination reporting systems and enforcement of policies are responsive, safe, accessible, transparent, and equitable. We'll be going deeper into this strategy at our next EDI AR Family Engagement Evening in April.
Priority 3 under the strategic plan is ensuring representation and celebrating inclusion. Representation benefits all members of the community as we learn from each other, and about diverse perspectives of the world around us. This is intentional and meaningful work to shift the culture to one of greater inclusion. As Chief Superintendent Martin said, inclusion is the foundation of our faith. Love God and love others.
Some of the key strategies for this priority are to work towards increasing diversity of staff and leadership, to enhance representation and inclusion of diverse identities, lived experiences and perspectives in teaching and learning materials, and visibility in our schools, facilities, and division marketing items. We continue to promote and support welcoming, safe, and inclusive spaces in our schools.
The Edmonton Catholic Schools Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism Strategic Plan is intended to grow and evolve as we continue to grow and evolve together in honesty, accountability, good relations, and responsibility. With Christ as our model and teacher, this is a place to start on the journey to an equitable future.
At the classroom level, EDIAR, or EDIAR, as it is also pronounced, is taking shape in many different ways. At St. Edmund Catholic Elementary Junior High School, there is an EDI AR club where the students come together to take an active role in confronting racism and brainstorm actionable ideas for the school community. We asked members of the EDI AR club to tell us, what does equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism mean to them?
Equity means everyone is given the resources and support that they need to succeed.
Diversity is all the ways in which people differ.
It means recognizing, understanding, accepting, and valuing differences.
We are all made in the image of God and we are all unique.
Inclusion is a way of thinking and acting that demonstrates universal acceptance and promotes a sense of belonging.
Inclusion is the foundation of our faith.
Anti-racism is an action. It means to taking steps to eliminate racism at the individual, communal, and institutional levels.
Equity means to me that everyone gets the things that they need to succeed. And it also means like everyone gets what they need, like everyone.
To me, diversity means that everyone's different and there's beauty in diversity. Everyone's different for a reason, everyone's unique for a reason.
Diversity means everyone's just different in their own unique way.
Inclusion to me means that everyone should be included in the world.
It's like including people from different backgrounds that might feel left out in a certain area or even just oppressed. It can create a good community.
Anti-racism means to me that you stand up to racism. Anti-racism, you just don't be racist and make sure you're telling other people to not be.
The EDIAR's group's role in the school is to express themselves for others who can't speak up for themselves.
It can make people feel more included and more safe.
I like that everyone is accepted. My favorite part of the group would be the meetings where I get to express myself, talk with my friends.
I stand for what every part of EDIAR means and what they fight for.
The EDI AR Club at St. Edmunds has some great ideas to address discrimination and build accountability. The school's principal, Fernando Ranco, says he's impressed with what the group has been able to accomplish in just a few short years.
EDI AR at St. Edmunds is a student leadership team within our school that has come together to foster a sense of acceptance and belonging through the umbrella lens of equity, diversity, inclusion, anti-racism. So our EDIAR student leadership team consists of approximately 30 to 40 students within our school, and they meet with our lead teacher, our FSLW, and myself twice a week, and looking at ways of how they can continue to raise awareness with equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism.
The strategic plan that was shared earlier is a guiding document for furthering this important work. I had the chance to sit down with our division chaplain, Father Glenn McDonald, our manager of Indigenous Learning Services, Pam Sparkling Eyes, and Julieta Zelada, principal at St. Theresa Catholic Elementary School, to discuss their thoughts about equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism in action within the division. Here's some of that conversation. Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this discussion about equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Thank you, Father Glenn, thank you, Pam, and thank you, Julieta, as well. So I'm going to start off with just some of the questions to get our discussion going, and I'm going to pose the first question to you, Father Glenn. So there are many connections between equity, diversity, inclusion, anti-racism, and our Catholic social teaching. How can we view the concepts of EDIAR through the lens of our faith?
Well, the two main ideas that I would highlight. So when it comes to the concept of equity, that really speaks, in my opinion, about a key concept for moral theology, which is human flourishing. That's if you take a whole bunch of courses in moral theology and you want to distill it down to basically two words. It's we want human flourishing for every human being. And that's, I think, what the concept of equity is really trying to get at, is that, each and every person is unique and they need different accommodations or assistance or help them to flourish and grow, become the beautiful person God has made them to be. So that would be the first kind of term of human flourishing. And then the other concept would be the event of Pentecost, of then when the Holy Spirit came and descended upon all people, and the disciples spoke all languages, which really captured the idea that reminded the church that everyone is a child of God, and that the message of God is meant to go out to all peoples and to help them to flourish and grow. And at times in the journey of the church, and of the world, we have forgotten this, that we are all God's children, that we all have dignity and need to be treated with care, respect, and love. And so EDIR really is trying to help us to remember that we are all God's children. The Holy Spirit has been gifted to all people, and that we are called to flourish and grow and to help one another do that. So those would be the two ideas I'd really zoom in on.
Thank you so much. I will now go over to you, Pam. And I guess my question is, EDIAR is not a new term within Indigenous Learning Services. You've done a lot of that work over several years now. Can you tell me a bit more about the kind of work that has been done?
Sure. I think I like what Father Glenn said about humans flourishing, because I really feel that that's work that Edmonton Catholic Schools has been doing for a long time through our department, Indigenous Learning Services. Even just having our department was established in 2001. And we've been doing that work of making sure that Indigenous students flourish in our school division. In 2009, we started the Braided Journeys program, which really focuses on supporting Indigenous students and acknowledges the fact that Indigenous students are often, the most marginalized, impoverished, and frequently victimized students, in our school district as far as facing systemic racism and oppression. So our school district has done a really good job of creating safe places for our students through the creation of the Braided Journeys program. And what that is creating space where Indigenous students can gather and celebrate our culture, feel safe, and feel supported through academic supports, transitioning supports, and working on career development and academic supports through tutoring and programming like that. So I feel like, that's work that's being done in our district and has been done really well to ensure that Indigenous students can flourish in our school division.
That's awesome. And Pam, thank you for sharing the work that's been done over several years now. And I'm going to go over to you now, Julieta. We have our EDI AR strategic plan. What two top key strategies do you think can most benefit from the school community input, and why?
All right, so in our plan, there are many key strategies that I think are intertwined and really work off of each other. When you look at the two key strategies that I would say we would need input from would be, one is ensure discrimination reporting systems and enforcement policies are responsive, safe, accessible, transparent, equitable for students, staff, parents, guardians, and families. How do we ensure that we are responsive in the right ways? And so this is very important for us to do it well. We need to be inclusive of the communities that we serve. We need their input on this. So this is the part that we need to be, I guess, taking it to the next level, because we want our students to feel like, if we're going to be asking them and our staff and our communities to report on discrimination, well, what's going to happen with that? How are we taking this serious? We need to take a stance that this matters, that this is important, and so that our systems that we put in place are effective and are responsive. Then this takes us to the next strategy, which is the one right below that, which it speaks to committing to a restorative approach when addressing discrimination. And so that there is a need to come together as a community in order to allow for healing from all parties. So this is certainly going to take time, but we need to listen to our community in order to properly build restorative practices. I think it's going to go beyond anything we've ever done up to now.
Thank you so much, Julieta. As one of the principals within the division, we are very blessed to have you in the position you're in. So I'm just going to do a follow-up question just to what you've said, because just to unpack that a bit. What advice would you have for other principals within the division to support not only the implementation, but also the integration of the EDI AR strategic plan priorities within their school communities? Because each school is a bit different in terms of how they operate. So what advice would you give?
I think that, nowadays when we talk about inclusive education, it calls us to so much more. It calls us to look at our practices and what we've seen as the norm, and to really look at it from a different lens and a different perspective that is perhaps not the norm. We need to sit back and we need to listen. And that, I think, as a principal, sometimes is a very difficult task to do, because we are the leaders of our school. But in this case, we need to sit back, we need to listen, and we need to allow others to share their experiences, to share their journey, to share their stories, and give those people, those minorities that usually don't have the center stage, to have the center stage, and for us to be learning from them.
Thank you so much, Julieta. I'm going to shift gears just a tad bit, Pam and Father Glenn, and I'm going to come to you, Father Glenn, first. So just a bit of focus on our families and students. How do you think parents can support their children in understanding and promoting concepts like inclusion and belonging?
I would say, and whenever I've done one of these parent evenings, I feel like I'm always repeating myself, because in our society, there's lots of ways to put out information, like to tweet, to post, to make a TikTok, and young people know all of these methods. But I find that young people don't have as many people that can listen to them as they need. And I know, Edmonton Catholic Schools, we do a great job. We try to do this. And I know parents are trying to do this and guardians are trying to do this as best they can. But that, at the end of the day, that the ability to listen to, to ask questions and to listen to how their child is thinking or feeling. And then at the same time, to remain calm. Because kids will test to kind of gauge to see your response to any question. And if they know they give an answer and you're going to react, then they're going to downplay what they really think or feel. And I found that listening to kids, asking a gentle question, but really listening for their response and then remaining dead calm is the best way to getting to the root of any situation, whether it's EDIAR or other pastoral issues or just how your child is feeling. That will go a long way, because when there's that openness and kids can say how they really feel, then you're going to get to the issues that might be bothering them, whether it be EDIAR or another matter that they're struggling with. So I know it's not very sophisticated answer, but really at the end of the day, I just find coming back to that, listening to a child and remaining calm so that they feel like they can say whatever they need to say and they're not going to get in trouble with it or their parents or guardians aren't going to overreact. They can just share the truth. And that goes a long way to addressing not only EDIAR concerns, but also just helping our young people to flourish and grow in general.
And I'm glad it's an authentic answer and not a sophisticated one. So thank you for sharing that. And Pam, my last question, well, I actually have one more, but I'll tell you afterwards. What would you want families to know about EDIAR?
I think from an Indigenous perspective, I would like families to really think about how the work of EDIRA is connected to reconciliation. And, that we're in this work together, that in order to make, to write the next chapter of Canada's history in a better way, that we have to do that together. And, we talk about walking together, we talk about, this work is all connected. As Indigenous people, our worldview is, we can't separate different pieces out and do them, solo, that each piece of this work is connected and that we're all connected within this circle. And a part of that, I think, is the conversations that families have around their kitchen tables, to ask their children what they're learning in school about reconciliation, about Canada's history, about the truth, because these are stories that are just unfolding and new to some people. Some people haven't heard about, Canada's real history before. It wasn't taught in our schools, for the longest time. So as some parents may not be aware of the truth and the work that needs to be done towards reconciliation and improving, just how we all talk to each other and how we all walk together, I think is work that will need whole communities to take responsibility for. And I think, I'd also like parents to know that the work that's being done in our district is really unique, that, our district has a 4 Directions wellness specialist, which, approaches this work from an Indigenous worldview, that we are 4-part people, that, our body, mind, and spirit must be working in harmony together in order to be whole. So we have staff that focus on that work, that restorative work that needs to be done in our schools and in our communities. And we also have a truth and reconciliation specialist in our district, which is also, I feel, very unique for a school district. So we're working with teachers and helping build teachers' knowledge. So I just think that's, those are things that I'd really like families to know and parents to know, to feel confident that this work is being done in a good way.
You are totally right. The work is being done in a good way, and we are definitely on that journey as a division, I feel. So it's just great to have this conversation with you all here to discuss that further. I do have one last question, and I tend to ask this question in PDs that I do. What does EDIAR mean to you? And just in one word. Yeah, Father Glenn.
If I was to go with one word, I would say community.
My word is love.
My word would be hope.
You just stole my word.
Sorry.
No, well, that's fine. Thank you so much for being with me today and having this discussion. And I look forward to the work that we're going to be doing in this division. I am joining you from Sister Netta Brockman School in its Equity Gallery. It truly is an amazing, inspiring place, driven by student research and work.
When we returned to school in August 2020, the world was changing. On the one hand, as principals, we were in a position of leading our schools within a global pandemic, and then on the other, we were presented with the opportunity to teach about collective action through the injustices that were happening all around us. We became responsible to be educated about racial injustice, and as we learned, we taught. We were presented with calls to action on a number of fronts, and we all had different ways of responding. This is one simple example of how one single school, Sister Netta Brockman, responded.
The gallery started when we were in the middle of the pandemic, and there was like a sense of isolation. So we figured that the Equity Gallery would like sort of bring us together.
To me, the Equity Gallery means a sense of community at our school. It's a way of relating to everybody at our school through our differences, and it's all showcased in the Equity Gallery.
It is used to give some sort of representation because especially in young kids, representation is a big thing. So they could like look at this gallery and see themselves in it. It could make them feel like comfortable and have like a sense of belonging that they matter at the school.
I know that it's having an impact when I tour visitors around the school, and I ask the students, tell Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so about Sister Netta Brockman School. They collectively, without a doubt, always answer with, have you seen our Equity Gallery?
We like to encourage classes to come down whenever they're free, just to take a look at all the artifacts that we have, just so that we can really get a view on how diverse our school is.
The Equity Gallery impacts a lot of people because it shows representation and it also shows equity in a visual way. So whatever is in the Equity Gallery, students and whoever see it can put what they see and EDIAR into their lives to make the world a better place.
The SAB Equity Gallery has become an ever-evolving collection of student artifacts around equity as a means to engage students in meaningful dialogue on the topic of equity in their world. In the words of Pope Francis, everyone is called to contribute with courage and determination to the respect for the fundamental rights of every person, especially the invisible.
It is important that we have our students help move this important work forward. Part of the development of our strategic plan included speaking with members of our student voice. The group of high school students meet with our board of trustees, chief superintendent, and deputy superintendent several times a year to help bring student insight into policy and advocacy. I had a chance to meet with them to find out their ideas for promoting a sense of belonging in our schools. Well, hello to you both, and thank you so much for being at this virtual discussion table with me. Thank you so much. We are going to be talking about EDI AR within our school division and what does it look like, for students. I'm going to get you both, if you could, please just introduce yourselves and just tell us what school you attend.
Hi. My name is Alexandra, and I attend St. Oscar Romero High School.
Hello, my name is Angel, and I go to St. Joseph High School.
So I just have a couple of questions today to get our discussion going. I'll start with the first one. What does EDI AR, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism mean to you? And I'll put that question to Alexandra first.
All right, for me, EDIAR for me is making sure that everyone in our school community and community in general are accepted and welcomed, because a lot before has been discrimination, or everyone or some people have not been feeling welcomed in our school community. And I feel like EDIAR is really meant to really include everybody and make them feel a sense of belonging and feel comfort and the feeling of safety in the school community.
To me, EDIAR means to have an active call towards facing the discrimination and systemic racism that we are still currently facing to this day. It also means to draw down the borders that discrimination has put towards one another and to create opportunities for those who have been instilled with those borders and to create an equitable and equal opportunity for everyone.
Awesome, thank you. And I love how you both not just focused on either one of those letters, but equity, diversity, inclusion, anti-racism, just recognizing that these are all distinct concepts, distinct words, and it's important that we pay attention to each one of those words in our discussions. So my next question is, as a division, how do you think we can support students to just feel that sense of belonging within their schools? We recognize that each school is just so different. It's a different makeup, a different community. And I don't know if you're talking on behalf of all schools or just within your school and your experience. How do you think we can make students just feel included and a sense of belonging within that environment that they come to daily? And I'll put that to you first this time, Angel.
To me, I took a different approach to that question in regards to the disciplinary approach that we've been kind of implementing in our current society, where when someone acts in a discriminatory way towards a racial group, we would typically punish them with a consequence without allowing them to grow from that experience and putting them into this cycle of doing something discriminatory, then consequence. Discriminatory, then consequence. But what I feel would be to make the community a better place would to kind of see them as people who could grow from their experience and people who need a space to do so, and to kind of break the cycle that they're currently in and understand why what they said, what they've done is wrong. And it also kind of turns back to those who are discriminated, to those who are kind of faced with a border, to be given opportunity to be seen past their skin and to also be given opportunity in this community.
For me, and definitely in my school, I really think that my school really expresses the different cultures. Like, I like how you do a disciplinary approach, but for me, I feel like supporting students is a way that really brings in a sense of belonging and really having them included in. So I know having like multicultural day, especially in my school, and like having certain days dedicated to a certain like culture, like this week is actually Métis week. So really celebrating that and really bring those cultures together makes them feel belonged and safe, like what the EDIAR really represents here.
All right. Thank you so much, Alexandra. And thank you so much, Angel, too. I, too, loved both your answers. Angel, when I think of your response, I immediately thought of restorative practice. And that whole focus on, okay, let's, be less punitive. Let's work. Let's encourage people to grow. Let's encourage people to just add more to their community by just being more welcoming and showing grace, I would say, in some aspects as well. Alexandra, I totally agree. Multiculturalism is important. Diversity is important, inclusion as well. I do believe that even just the face of schools, when you walk into them, what does it speak to? I love that, this week, as you mentioned, is Métis week, and that just that sense of belonging you feel within your school. And there's so many other students who would want to feel that, already do feel that. So both great answers. Thank you so much. I'm going to push you guys a bit. If there was one word, though, that you could describe what EDIAR, equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism mean to you, and I always ask people this, what word would that be? One word.
To me, in thinking about it, I honestly can't think of another word that could embody all of those terms other than change, because that's kind of what I see EDIAR going towards as an act of change. So yeah, that's my word.
I think love, because love is always going to be accepting who a person is and really embracing who you are, even to the community too. So that's my word.
Thank you guys so much for today. Just even meeting virtually, I'm excited that you're in our schools, and I'm excited that you are representatives from the student voice, because I think you're just doing amazing work, and I totally see why. Thank you so much for joining us. To find out more about our EDI AR strategic plan, or how our division is furthering EDI AR in our schools and sites, visit our website, ecsd.net/EDI AR. On the page, you will find information about board policies, administrative procedures, and specific elements from Alberta Education that help guide our work. And if you scroll to the bottom of the page and click on EDI AR Strategic Plan, you'll be redirected to a page where the document we shared with you earlier is located. We also have a link to an extensive list of EDI AR resources. And save the date for April 2023, we'll be returning for a second live stream on EDI AR. From the Equity Gallery at Sister Nata Brockman, and on behalf of our Board of Trustees, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in April.